Hello friends! I got a sweet goodness goody recipe for you today. Buttermilk cookies with caramel icing. Y'all, these things are heaven sent. So this piece of paper has been in my pile of delicious recipes that I've been wanting to get to. Got this recipe from an awesome woman named Rita Kurtz. Her and her husband John live in Winthrop, Washington, and we had the pleasure of meeting them many years ago. And this is just a cookie recipe that I go back to time and time again. It's a little bit of a problem. I'm just forewarning you. These things are addicting. The cookie's not super sweet. The icing is just perfection. It has almost like a brown buttery effect to it, caramely. It's so good. But I need to bring one of my neighbors some goodies because they completely spoiled us recently. So pay it back. That's right. So I'm making them these cookies. I will keep a few for us, but I'm gonna be getting them out the door as soon as possible. So cannot wait to show these little gems to you. Let's get started with buttermilk cookies with caramel icing. Okay, so I began with creaming a cup of butter, 2 cups of brown sugar. So this is a lot of brown sugar. I'm gonna add eggs, just one at a time on low, and get those incorporated slowly. So this dough is actually pretty simple. It's brown sugar, butter, eggs, vanilla, buttermilk, flour, and soda. And then I add a pinch of salt. Doesn't say salted or unsalted butter. I would use salted butter since there's no salt listed in the recipe. Or add, if you use unsalted, add a decent pinch of salt into this. I think salt helps bring out the sweetness, honestly. So once this gets incorporated, I'm gonna scrape down the sides. I can do that in just a second. I'm gonna next add the buttermilk. So it does require something special. There's a really easy substitution for buttermilk. I believe it is a tablespoon of acid to basically a cup of milk. So put in like measure up almost like a cup, basically right at the cup line of milk, probably 2% or higher. I would not do it with fat-free. And then add, I believe it's a tablespoon, it might be a teaspoon. I will put the notes below the video, so read the bottom. Of either lemon juice or white vinegar, and then you can let it sit for about 15 minutes. It helps kind of coagulate and creates kind of a buttermilk effect. Still think the real thing's good. So buttermilk's going in after my eggs. And then there is a lot of flour. So it's 3 3/4 cups flour, and I already have measured it measured right here, along with salt, the little pinch of salt that I added, and the baking soda. So I'm gonna just be spooning that in nice and slowly. I'm gonna turn this down and start spooning this in, scrape the sides down, and I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, I'm spooning in the last of my dough. This is a really thick dough. And it makes kind of the cookie's not dense, it definitely is puffy, but you wanna make sure that you definitely have everything really well mixed, or else the dough won't rise. The cookies will be a little thin. So I like to spoon it in with like a big soup spoon, and that way I'm not like getting a puff of flour as I go. So this dough is pretty well mixed. I'm gonna scrape the sides down, and then I'm gonna portion that onto cookie sheets, and we're gonna get them in the oven. Okay, got my cookie sheets with parchment that I'm laying down. I wanted to show you guys a little pro tip. Sorry, I don't have the camera up here. You are gonna have to wash your cookie sheets if you do this, but you take a little tiny bit of dough on your finger, and then behind the corner, just smear a little bit behind one corner and then put it down, and that's gonna keep the parchment, see, it's not flying around. So if you have regular cookie sheets, not the kind with the sides, which I'm using these today, it's a really nice little tip. So the other thing with cookies like this, excuse me, rinse my hands really quick. Definitely recommend, as much as you're able to use something. I have a cookie scoop. If you don't have one of these, I do use them all the time. I have them in 3 sizes. But it really helps for consistency of cooking if you have a cookie scoop. So, and it's just, gosh, you just scrape it up the side of your bowl, and then, just like an ice cream scoop, and boom, you got your cookies. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these all portioned out on here, throw them into my oven. Also wanted to make mention, there is vanilla in this. I just, on camera, forgot to add it, and so I added it, and everything's fine, but don't forget your vanilla. All right, we'll see you when the cookies come out of the oven. Look at my beautiful buttermilk soldiers. Don't they look pretty? So you can look at from the side. They're pretty puffy. And that's from making sure that dough is nice and well mixed. And then over here, you guys, I'm starting the caramel icing. So I've got, I won't be able to do both very well, but I've got a cup of brown sugar and a half cup of butter. Nobody said these were low-cal cookies, I'm telling you. This is gonna boil for about 2 minutes, and then I will be adding some milk, bringing it back to a boil, and then I believe once it comes to that boil, then I will add powdered sugar and some vanilla. One of the tricks I know with these cookies is you're gonna have to frost them pretty fast. So it's important to make sure the cookies come out of the oven and you've let them cool down. These are a little bit warm to the touch, but they're not hot. So can't wait to frost. Be back in a little bit. Okay, friends. Yum. I got a brown sugar butter with a little bit of milk mixture in here. I forgot because I haven't made these in a long time because they're a problem. That you need to let this mixture cool down a bit. So this is warm, it's not cold. I would say, it says cool, it doesn't say how cool, but when I've let it cool too much, then I find it's really hard to frost. The frosting kind of hardens up a bit. So, teaspoon of vanilla will go in here, and then I've already pre-measured 1 3/4 cup of powdered sugar is going to go in here. Again, not a low-cal situation. Let's set this to the side. But dang, these are good. Okay, so powdered sugar, I'm just plopping it all in without trying to make a cloud of sugar. I'll start inhaling. So I think it's best with a whisk, honestly, to get this really incorporated. And at first you're gonna be like, what? It's like not coming together. Stay patient with it. You just gotta work it and keep gently massaging it through. It will turn a much lighter color than that yum warm brown. See, already it's coming together. Oh, you guys, it smells so good. Gotta get some muscle into it. I'm gonna beat it out. Oh, I'm already remembering why I don't make these. It smells incredible. And because the brown sugar, it almost is like, kind of got, reminds me of like a little bit of brown butter. So with my offset spatula, I'm just gonna start picking these little bad boys up and just slowly but surely giving them all a nice little coating of frosting. It's thick enough that it does need to be individually frosted. You can't just like dip these. I tried it the very first time I made it. The frosting's definitely thick enough. So anyways, I'm gonna get these going. I'll take a few photos, then we'll have a test taste because somebody's gotta do it. All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Look at these little soldiers. I mean, let's come in here. Let's zoom in just for a sec. They're frosty, they're pretty. Oh, you guys, I wish you could smell. It's like a caramel, brown, sugary, buttery baking factory in here. That's what it smells like, at least. I'm really excited about tasting. Of course, you know, I may have licked a little bit of the frosting along the way. So, frosting these. How much? How little? If I was estimating, like, not quite a tablespoon, but just under a tablespoon maybe per cookie, I had just enough to frost almost all of them. My husband's going, he'd want more in his, but it's okay. This frosting's really sweet, so the nice thing is it pairs well with buttermilk cookie, which has a little bit of a tang to it because of the buttermilk, and it's not super sweet because there's so much flour that goes into that. I know it had 2 cups of brown sugar, but it does balance out. It's a really, really good cookie. And it's not crispy. It's got a little bit of a possibly crisp edge depending on how long you've baked yours, but it's more light and almost like cakey. It's just, you guys, it's just good. You're gonna wanna make these. They are worth any bit of effort and they are worth all the calories in my opinion. I'm just saying. So let's get down to it. Which one shall I select? This little guy here, because it's little. It looks like it has a lot of frosting on it, to be honest. All right, let's get down to business. It's like caramely, it's sugary, buttery. Look at the thickness in that cookie. It's like almost kind of cakey, but it's not. It's almost like in between cake and a cookie. It's, that's right, it's a 2-bite. Wow. These are special. I should make them more. Sorry, I don't, honey. My neighbors are gonna be happy. I already have some little plates I'm doing, getting it all ready to take them over and spoil them. I'm setting this down so I don't have more. You guys, worth the effort. Make these cookies. I would not recommend them for freezing. Oh, one other pro tip. Underneath my little rack, I'm gonna carefully lift this. I took my parchment paper that I'd have my cookies baking on and set those under when I frosted. So if there was any crumble that came down, but there wasn't because the frosting's pretty thick. But that's a great little tip. Put your parchment paper that you've used down there. So anyways, thank you for tuning into this one. I am so pumped to hear the feedback. Let me know what you think. Make these and share your pictures. Let me know. Let me see. All right. Delighted to Bite. Subscribe, share, tell your friends that I am here every Wednesday, 5:30 Pacific time. I post a new video each week. You can also catch me on Instagram at Delighted to Bite. And I just so appreciate you tuning in. Love when you talk with me. So give me your feedback. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. See you next week. Bye-bye.